Well, we get to this time of year, and I know that a good number of Albertans get ready to hit the field for hunting season. Yes, again, I mean, it's just been a few months since we wrapped up the general hunting season, but we are moving into the spring bear hunting season. And a real pleasure to be joined by Kevin Gardiner. He's a biologist. He's also the regional manager for the central region of the Alberta Conservation Association. Kevin, thanks so much for spending some time and chatting with us about bear hunting today.
Well, thank you, Michael, for the opportunity. I always love the chance to chat with you on Let's Go Outdoors.
I appreciate that. Well, listen, we are talking about bear hunting and really coming at it from more of a personal perspective. I know you have been passionate about, well, not just bear hunting, but all kinds of hunting. But talk to us about how you got started in bear hunting.
Yeah, okay. So I've been bear hunting for probably about 15 years. And in that time, I've spent a lot of time at field hunting bears. I've only actually ever harvested one bear myself. But I just like to get out there. I like to take other folks out there. I like to take young hunters out there. It's a great opportunity for them in the spring. Originally, I got into it. Friends of mine bought a ranch in the Valley View area where they have a lot of bears and a lot of crown land surrounding their ranch. And they invited me up there one time. And I guess that was about 15 years ago. And I've been going back ever since.
So as a biologist, there might be people watching this and saying, well, you're a biologist. You're supposed to be helping animals and figuring out habitats and all that kind of things associated with the role of being a biologist. Talk a little bit about your philosophy, maybe not just about bear hunting, but hunting in general.
Yeah, I guess it might be hard for some people to understand, but the way I look at it is that in a way, I feel hunting is a form of conservation. And the reason I say that, sorry, is that I feel that when you get out there and you get hunting, you learn things about wildlife, you learn things about the landscape, you learn things about habitat, and to me, it makes you more, I guess, sort of in tune with nature. Now, as a biologist working for the ACA, the ACA actually gets the money that comes from hunting and fishing license sales, and we turn around and we turn that money into different conservation-minded projects, often projects that are geared towards improving hunting and fishing opportunities, but it also improves habitat and conservation for many other species as well.
Talk about the different methods of hunting, especially, I guess, in the spring, Kevin. You can stalk a bear, or you can actually set up a bait stand and sit and watch the bears come in. Maybe talk about the difference between the two, and is there an advantage to one over another?
Yeah, so there is two main methods, I guess, and the first one would be spot and stalk, where you basically, find an area and you go hiking through it or drive, the back roads, scanning the country, looking for a bear to try and stalk. So that's some people that prefer to get out and hit the ground a bit more. That's probably a great method for them. It's a little bit tougher than the other method, which is to set up a bait and then lure the bears in and then hunt them that way. The one advantage, so what I've done is I've done the baiting method. And the one advantage with that is, well, the bears come to you, you can see a lot of bears, and you can, in a controlled situation, you can select the bear out that you would like to harvest. And it's a good chance of making a real humane kill on a bear.
And my understanding when it comes to baiting, the stinkier, the better.
Yeah, so I think that's probably true. I know what I've done, and what I do is you have to establish every year a good relationship with that restaurant owner who has a lot of extra fryer grease that he wouldn't mind parting with once it's used. And that's what I use for bait, is I mix that with grain and throw that in a bait barrel. And how that works is when the bears come in and start eating the grain, it puts off a good smell. So they smell it from miles away. They seem to be really attracted to it. And then they get that grease all through their paws and through their fur. and then when they get walking around the forest, they leave scent trails into your bait. So it's a good way to lure several bears into a baiting station.
And how close you hunt the spring bear with a bow?
Yeah.
So how close do you like to be to the stand itself, Kevin?
Yeah. So myself, I prefer to be about no closer than 35 yards, somewhere from 30 to 45 yards. With modern bows, if you practice, you should be able to make a shot that far without too much problem. And I like to be a little bit further back than a lot of people because what happens when you get more than one bear at a bait, and if they start fighting with each other, um, the smaller bear will climb a tree. And so I want to be backed up. So there are a number of trees in between me and the bait so that if they climb a tree, they don't go up the tree that I'm in. And it also will, it can help you avoid a situation where you have a cub with sows or a sow with cubs, sorry. What happens when those cubs get scared, the first thing that they do is climb a tree. And you don't want to be in a situation where you got bear cubs up your tree.
And you make a really great point there because in Alberta, while you are legally able to take both sexes, you cannot take a sow that does have cubs. And I guess that's the advantage of using the bait situation because a sow could come in, you wait 5-10 minutes, and then the cubs could come in, and then you know for sure what you're dealing with, right?
Yeah, so like myself, I only like to select the boars. But yeah, it does exactly that. You could have time to watch them, and the rule is that you cannot harvest a sow with cubs under the year of one age. So that would be cubs that were born in the den that year. You do not want to take a sow in that situation for sure. So yeah, exactly that. It gives you a chance to sit there, watch them first, make sure that it's a large bear. If it's a large bear, it's more likely a boar, and then make sure that they don't have any cubs with them. Yeah.
And hunting a boar, I guess, does another thing too. We talked earlier about the management, and that helps, I guess, other ungulates in the forest survive as well when you take out a big boar, right?
Yeah. The bears are known to be major predators of young of the year, freshly calved out moose and elk calves and fresh fawns. And the boars are the primary predators of those young of the year ungulate offspring. So yeah, you can help elk, moose, and deer populations by harvesting and adult boar for sure.
Talk a little bit about how how maybe you have a beer with the bear. I don't know, but how bear meat tastes, Kevin. Is it a game meat that you kind of really get into?
Yeah, I love bear meat. It tastes a lot like pork. This is how I would most closely relate it to. A lot of people make hams out of it, or a lot of people like to just make a roast similar to a pork roast. The go-to place that I go to when I want to prepare just about most any wild game is the Harvest Your Own website, and they have several recipes there on how to prepare bear meat.
And I guess we should talk a little bit about some of the rules. I mean, obviously, you need to purchase your bear license, but you also have to take an extra step, and that is to let folks in the immediate area, especially if you are setting up a bait stand, let them know that that kind of a hunting scenario is taking place in that particular area of the forest.
Yeah, so you have to be selective on where you pick your bait site. I can't remember exactly, but I believe it cannot be within a mile of a occupied dwelling. And then you have to sign your bear bait. So you have to put your name on your sign, your WIN number, and then it has to say bear bait on it. And then you have to have a number of signs around your bear bait as well. Also saying, that there's a bear bait, also bear bait signs all the way around. So people coming from any different direction will be aware that you have a bear bait going.
In terms of when you head out, do you have a particular favorite time that you like to get up into a tree stand, Kev?
Yeah. So over the years, I've kind of by over the years, I've kind of decided that around May long weekend seems to be my favorite time. So I'll start baiting around May 1st and have the bait going for 2 to 3 weeks if I can before I go in and actually hunt it. And then May long weekend seems like a great time for me. It's a long weekend for me. It's a way to avoid a lot of the crowds if you go camping out west. And and then it's a great time when a lot of the songbirds are out making their mating calls and geese are flying around and the days are long. It's a great time to be sitting in a tree stand.
Oh, well, listen, thank you so much for sharing some insight into this fascinating activity here in Alberta, Kevin, and wish you nothing but continued success getting out and harvesting a bear this season.
Okay, well, thank you, Michael. Much appreciated.
And folks, if you'd like more information surrounding bear hunting, I would encourage you to check out mywildalberta.ca. And of course, go to Harvest Your Own, a link within the Alberta Conservation Association website. You'll find a lot of great recipes, as Kevin already indicated. Till next time, we'll talk to you soon. I'm Michael Short. Let's go outdoors.